is they tried a 68-yarder. I don't even think I'd driven 68 yards like this morning. So, yeah, Chamorro is in the NFL record books, longest missed field goal return all time. Getting it done.
That's it.
Congratulations,
there you go.
Jamal.
A big win, Sienna Maya. We're going to claim this one, too, though. The 650, Mayor Jesse Alig, the president of the Mayor's Council of Guam. Good morning, Mayor.
Hi, Mayor.
It's earlier today.
It is. Thank you. Looking nice in your red there. It's almost like you're the mayor of Agate.
Yeah. Thanks.
Let's go ahead and
we try and support everyone.
There you go. There you go. Let's just get right into it, Mayor. I know that you guys were kind of deputized by the Surgeon Cell and Dr. Michael Cruz to do outreach, right? Calling residents, and we're about a week into that effort. Can you kind of recap how it's gone?
So, for the most part, I think most mayors have already started their phone banking. There are a couple of mayors who have decided to do door-to-door posting as opposed to phone banking, and so I believe Inalahan and MTM have done that already last week. So their residents will not be receiving a phone call. I know the larger districts have already tried to make contact with the isolated areas and the difficult areas to get tested. I know that Hoggett has coordinated, what do you call this? They've coordinated little efforts to get the testing in different pockets of the village already as of late last week and through the weekend. So far so good. Of course, the difficulty is that, because of the weather, the testing sites were on and off. So that was kind of, that just either slowed things down for residents or changed people's minds to go and get tested. But we're hoping that, with a more regular schedule this week, that they'll continue to get tested. We take a look at the JIC releases every night, and the numbers don't. Well, I mean, last night's numbers were higher when you look at the percentage, right, of infections or positives. So for us, I think it's really that we locate and we identify those positives, and we get them the help that they need if they're feeling symptomatic. That's our effort, and so we're slowly but surely doing it. I do know that some people, most people that we call are, they tell us that they've already been tested, and we just kind of want to remind them that regular testing is helpful, especially if you have some other issues, some other health or medical issues going on, that it's best to get tested. So far so good. Of course, like I said, because of the weather last week, we didn't. The results were not as good as we expected them as far as the number of testing, but they're still going on. The tier 2 clinics, I think that was made clear many times, at least on my end. But there are some people that are finding some difficulty when they're going to get tested at a tier 2 clinic. If you're uninsured, so there's mixed messaging there, and it's difficult because I called myself a particular clinic, and they don't charge for the COVID testing itself, but there's an administrative fee that is assessed to the uninsured. And for the insured, it's billed to your insurance company. Dr. Wen did mention that the clinic can fill out certain paperwork or documents in order for the uninsured to get treated or to get tested without having to pay even the administrative fee. But I believe that really is just dependent on the clinic. So it is difficult to continue to share with our people about free testing at tier 2 clinics, because it's, I hear one thing and someone else hears another thing. So they're private clinics, so you can't really tell them what to do. Their safest bet is to go to a government operated clinic, which is Tizen or one of the regional centers, the North or Southern Regional Health Center. That's your safest bet for those that are uninsured. But for those that are insured, to avoid the waiting line and inclement weather, they can certainly go to a tier 2 clinic.
How's that make you feel, Mayor? Because they ask you to go call everybody, and you guys call everybody, and there's this confusion
that's the
about
frustrating part, and I think we're at a point where we just kind of have to sail our own boat. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of what it is, because we don't hold the cash, and if we could have figured out a way to ensure that tier 2 clinics, we didn't even mention about an administrative fee, and tier 2 clinics could simply just test insured or uninsured without any difficulty, I think that would certainly be a lot more helpful. I do know that the people that need to know understand that issue on our end, and so I don't know if anything is going to be done. Of course, part of my frustration is, and this is my personal opinion, is that we hear all the different doctors. I mean, you guys since day one have brought in different doctors, and we've heard their opinions and their science-based suggestions and recommendations. And for me, as a layperson, I really feel that the push to vaccinate was certainly a good and positive route at the very beginning. But right now, I mean, we're 86% vaccinated, and we're pushing vaccination as if vaccinations are the key to all of this. But we're still seeing our numbers rise. And so I'm not sure why the messaging is still the same to continue to vaccinate, and our results have not changed. And so I'm of the opinion that our people just really need to know whether they're sick or not and get treated right away, and not wait till you actually have to get to the hospital, because getting to the hospital is not ideal for you. And contrary, I believe, again, my personal opinion, contrary to a news article this morning, I don't believe that, and based on other doctors' opinions, I don't believe that our hospitals can continue to manage high numbers of COVID cases. And that's the reason why we were brought in to help and support public health's mission. And so I really am of the opinion that our people, regardless of how you feel, just need to know that if you're not feeling well, you need to get checked. And if you've been feeling under the weather, don't slip it under the rug. Go and see a doctor, just to be sure. So that's our campaign so far. And yes, we'll continue to call around, and we'll find answers on our own as far as making sure we get residents the answers they need when it comes to testing at the different sites, whether it's a government operated or a tier 2 clinic.
A friend of mine lost her father to COVID over the weekend. He was a patient on a ventilator up at Guam Memorial Hospital. But Mayor, I just want to share with you, because she texted me kind of like the whole timeline of it, and I think this story is an example of why you guys were called to action by the surgeon cell. She writes, Chris, he just wasn't feeling strong, so we called the ambulance, and his oxygen levels were low in the 70s. We didn't know because he didn't exhibit any signs whatsoever. The oximeter is needed especially for the elderly. Once he got to the hospital, they tested him and he was positive. No wonder why a lot of people don't think they have COVID-19, because they don't exhibit any symptoms whatsoever. He was just not feeling as strong as he normally was, like fatigue. We thought he just needed to rest because he loves to plant and be out in the yard doing small gardening. But now he's on the ventilator, unfortunately. And she texted me that they lost him over the weekend. So this is kind of an example of what we're seeing at the village level, is people don't even know that their blood oxygen is so low, and they're going to the hospital when it's already too late.
And that's the examples the doctors gave to us. That's what they told us. And I'm not sure why we're not focusing our messaging. The entire government is not focusing their messaging on that, on simply to get tested to know. Was he? I'm sure he was positive, correct?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So he didn't know, and that's the issue. Arm and uncle don't they don't know, and we know that because I've been calling myself. And when you talk to a particular senior citizen, they're vaccinated, they got tested, everything it's okay, boy, Esther, I'm done. Well, you need to still get tested. If you're home alone, we just have to, we need to look out for them, because they won't get, the additional tests that they need, that they should probably get, so that they can be safe. And, I'm glad that, her father was able to get to the hospital in time. And hopefully, God willing, he'll do a lot better and get released soon. But we just want to, we want to prevent the more negative effects to that, So, yeah, that's the hard part, is having to deal with that part of the pandemic that I think we should probably focus more of our efforts on. Bottom line, at this point, really. So
you mentioned how it's you're getting sort of this resistance or concerns from constituents about having to pay at the tier 2 clinics for that administrative fee. Has there been any discussions then about opening up more testing sites, government testing sites, so that it is more accessible, or even training?
Yeah, certainly. Yes, of course. Like I mentioned, the people that need to know about this situation know, and they do know that, as mayors and vice mayors, we're open to having additional testing sites in the villages. And again, I reiterated that on Friday, that if there were any opportunities for community level testing, like we did at the very beginning, most mayors are ready and willing to host them.
What about going to a nearest school, since they're going to be required?
Well, I can't speak for the schools, but I always advocate for what we can achieve and what we can accommodate. And of course, they are aware that, we are of the opinion that additional government sites are necessary to avoid the tier 2 issues.
I just figured there would have been a plan or something.
I think we all know that. I think we all believe that, by now there should have been contingencies for many different situations. I mean, yes, we all work, and most of us have not stopped working. But at the same time, there's a lot of us. And so I really feel that, there should have been other contingency plans ready to execute based on what happens on a particular day. But like I said, we have to roll with the punches on our end, and we go with what we have, and we deal with what we have.
Since we apparently aren't going to see any additional restrictions or anything, we're just going to, let things be and deal with it. Since the governor said
get used to it, actually, was the word.
Whatever. So, the numbers have plateaued. Are you guys still working to reopen senior citizen centers? I think October was the time frame.
No, we can't. We can't open it. We can't open it because we just never know when our staff's going to be, farmed out to do something else. I mean, it's that critical for us. We have the same number of staff that operate our offices and our senior centers, and we still don't. There's no plan yet on what we're going to do with the over 1,000 meals that are delivered every day. And so, if we had to use the centers for other issues or for other types of emergencies, we couldn't open the centers, and we just can't, not at this point. I mean, things have changed drastically, and as far as preparation, Division of Senior Citizens continues to, follow up on their procurement. Of course, it's always an issue. So they have to go through the regular government procurement when it comes to all the different things we've mentioned as far as equipment goes for safety, and that's all on track. I've seen the purchase orders, so I know that they're they've been initiated, but they have not yet been procured. I mean, it's not yet in our hands, so we're still waiting on that. On October 1st is certainly not going to be a time. We certainly won't be able to open by October 1st.
What about ARP money? You guys got anything yet?
If we did, I'd pay for all the tier 2 clinics so that our people won't have to worry about getting tested.
Did you pay your COVID differential pay? Since your employees are always on the front line?
No. You'll know. You'll know when they get paid.
Okay.
No pay. Sorry.
Mayor, can we go back to the beginning, because I want to make sure I have it accurate. So did you guys reach out to the Adeloop and the Surgeon Cell saying, hey, how can we help, or did they approach you guys?
No, of course, my regular meeting with the governor, she had recommended that I meet with Dr. Mike Cruz. And then so it was because from that conversation that started our initial campaign to test it.
So when you talked about some of the challenges you're facing in your village, are you hearing that across the board from the other mayors, especially like maybe in the more populated villages?
You know what? I think COVID has made everyone a little more messy, and their skin has become more tougher than Carabao. So because it's like we have to learn how to adapt. Right. And so if a resident calls, it's not go call Jesse. It's not go call Jesse. It's let's go figure this out. Right. And so I do know that all the mayors have get the same questions and the same, concerns. And so, of course, I send it out. As soon as I know I have an answer, I send it out to everyone. But no, I don't believe that anyone is having it any differently. I think everyone shares the same concerns for the most part. So, but at the same time, I'm so grateful that my colleagues continue to find their answers and and then look into their own resources to get results for their residents. So, if that answers your question, yes, we are experiencing the same things.
I just had one final question, and this relates to just a follow-up to when the controversy with the All Rise happened and the requirement for residential verification, and you know how there were all the long lines, and when the LT at the time removed that requirement, I think it was you who mentioned that there was this assurance, right, that we were going to see technical upgrades, whether it be computers or what have you. Have you gotten those technical upgrades, and what did you mean when you said that back then? I'm just curious if you guys got like computers or
Wi-Fi. So that's actually a big deal for us, and we did have a meeting last week on it. So I believe they are in procurement for the actual software. The hardware, I believe, is ready, just has not been distributed. And so what it does is it does a lot for us. It creates a database for us of our residency or our residents. And so it helps us to track them better. And it includes all the different fields that are necessary for us, including the veteran status, and everything that is required by the different government agencies. And of course, we're hoping that that's going to morph into something that is convenient, not only for public health, but for GURA and for Revenue Tax. And so that, in the future, hopefully in the near future, we don't actually have to print anything. It can actually be sent to them, or they can view it on our end. So yes, it's active. Of course, I think most of us wish that it would come sooner, but it is being worked on. As far I know that because, like I said, we just had a meeting on it last week. So I'm excited to announce the good news as soon as we get it. And thanks for asking about it.
All right, thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, I do want to, I just officially, and I mean officially because on air is the first time I've said it, and we don't issue any written statements, but on behalf of the Mayor's Council of Guam, we do want to extend our sincere condolences to the families of the late former Mayor Doris Lujan from Minalahan and the late Commissioner from Talofofo, Roman Kinata. And so I'm sure we'll hear more about their funeral announcements in the days to come.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. 7:10. We're going to take a quick break, and we're coming back with Senator Frank Blas Jr. next on the link. Good morning.
Uno Mixed. We're mixing it up on the last Thursday of every month with a look at lifestyle, entertainment, food, and so much more on the stations, networks, and digital platforms of KUAM Communications. Uno Mixed is presented to you by Docomo Pacific, Better Together, and Pepsi.